Yo, what's up, family? Before we start the video, please leave a like, subscribe, and share to any and everyone that you can. Just read out there a little bit more. With that being said, let's get right into the video. All right, how y'all doing? I hope y'all doing good. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, make sure you take your shoes off before you come in the house. And the Celtics played a phenomenal game one defensively in this game, held the Mavericks to only 89 points, 7 for 27 from the three-point line. The biggest thing to me is that Luka Doncic had 1 assist. As a team, the Mavericks had 9. And they only attempted about 5 corner threes in this game, which is a big part of their offense and how they operate. And in this game, the Celtics showed tremendous game plan discipline. You will see it on this play even though it doesn't materialize. So when the Celtics went single big, either that was Al Horford or Kristaps Porzingis, for the majority of the game, they were checking either PJ Washington or Derrick Jones Jr. Sometimes it was also Josh Green. They don't want their centers on Gafford or Lively, right? So here we have Horford on Gafford. And as he's going to go set this screen, you're going to see him point at Jason Tatum to tell him go get Gafford. Unfortunately, Tatum isn't looking, so it does not happen. Al just has to go, and Tatum's like, I'm sorry, I missed it. But it doesn't matter on this play because Jaylen Brown's screen navigation, who was also a demon defensively in this game, he really took over in that third quarter, and he had some really big steals on Luka Doncic to get the energy going. He doesn't allow himself to be screened, goes over, and Gafford hitting him makes him hit Doncic, dislodge the ball, and he gets a big-time dunk. And on Kyrie Irving, the Celtics lived with Jrue Holiday hounding him, Jaylen Brown hounding him sometimes, and playing that drop coverage with either Kristaps or Kristaps Porzingis. And it's about putting length and smarts on the drop coverage, and that is a reason why the Celtics had bigs on Derrick Jones Jr. or PJ Washington, because the Mavericks want KP and Al Horford in pick and rolls. So if you take away their best pick and roll partners, which is Gafford and Lively, because of those lobs, you can get your tallest and longest defenders in those pick and rolls to play that drop coverage. And later we'll see KP block a Kyrie jumper in drop coverage, and here Al Horford does the same thing right here, blocking the floater. All right, so here we got JT on Luka, KP playing that drop, and then we got Derrick Jones rolling. KP does a nice job playing in between Derrick Jones and Luka Doncic. Luka does a nice job acting like he's going to shoot it, but then passing to Derrick Jones Jr. But the length from Kristaps Porzingis, the rim protection, was phenomenal in this game. And something that has to be talked about is how crisp the switches were for the Celtics and how good the quote-unquote switches went for the Boston Celtics. The matchups that the Mavericks wanted to get in this game, those players like Sam Hauser switched on to Luke and Kyrie, Al Horford switched on to Luke and Kyrie, KP switched on. The Celtics did a phenomenal job defending with those guys, and those guys get a lot of credit for this game, especially this first stint by Sam Hauser doing an impeccable job here. Switched on to Luka Doncic after the Jaden Hardy screen, just fighting, staying in front of Luka, not letting him get too deep in the paint, post the ball loose. Jaylen Brown gets it. Here we get in transition, then we actually turn the ball over right here, and then again the size, the athleticism, and the rim protection of Kristaps Porzingis stops the PJ drive. And here the Celtics do a nice job of showing their game plan and discipline. This isn't even like a scheme thing, it's just knowing your personnel, right? So here again we got Jaylen on Luka Doncic and pick and roll. Again, KP guarding Josh Green and Tatum guarding Derrick Lively. Here we got KP and drop, and again we got 2 on Luka Doncic in the pick and roll, because Josh Green is somebody that we're not worried about popping, right? And even when he receives it, as soon as Derrick White sees that this is Josh Green and that Jaden Hardy is in the corner, watch what he does. Completely backs up and gives him free reign to do whatever he wants. We're not worried about Josh Green drives, and he misses the floater. And this is one of the few times where the Mavericks got a pick and roll with KP on Lively or Gafford. When the Mavericks do get this, it is really important that Kristaps Porzingis is locked in and that he is doing his best to defend this by himself. I know that sounds crazy, but this is how the Mavericks get a lot of their open corner threes. He needs to be able to defend these without help from the corner man. If this is Luke or Kyrie, the Mavericks will carve this up, have this guy in jail, because he doesn't know if he has to defend the driver or the lob, right? So as soon as they get a couple lobs off, this tag man has to come over, and now that leaves the corner 3 open. On this play, we're not really worried about it because again it's Josh Green, but also KP does a nice job playing in between both Lively and Jaden Hardy. You see as he backs up into Lively, and Jaden Hardy is always on go. He's a scorer, so he sees KP back up, he's gonna go try to score, but KP is again has the athleticism, the size, the length to protect the rim and get back. And here just another good contest by Sam Hauser on the switch on Kyrie. And here, just like I talked about earlier, KP in that drop. Al Horford was in the drop earlier, blocked the Kyrie floater. KP in the drop here, blocks the Kyrie over and jumper. And now, of course, we got to show this sequence with Sam Hauser hitting the contested corner 3. And if you saw my Kristaps video yesterday, I'll put that somewhere so you can watch it. You've seen this play, you've seen the defensive plays that he's made, but it's just such a big part of this team to have him back, especially on the defense side of the ball. His rim protection, look how he meets Josh Green at the summit right here, and he just erases this dunk attempt. All right, so here we got a little bit of a smaller screen because Kyrie talking about getting his butt whooped in the first quarter. But again, here, Al Horford on Kyrie Irving. The people that the Mavericks wanted to target coming into this series did a phenomenal job defending in game one. Al Horford switching on to those guys did a phenomenal job. And here, just a great job moving his feet and contesting the Kyrie Irving floater. And here's another example of their game plan discipline. I put out 2 previews before the series started, and the one thing that I was harping on is the defensive matchups. And of course, again, that is KP guarding PJ Washington or Derrick Jones Jr. and Al Horford doing the same thing. Here we have double big, so you got Al and KP, right? And Al is going to guard Lively, KP is going to guard PJ Washington. And what they were doing in the March 1st matchup against the Dallas Mavericks is the exact same thing they did here. When PJ Washington set those screens and he popped out to the 3-point line, Kristaps showed him no mind. They were not going to let Luka Doncic play one-on-one in the pick and roll game. They did not mind PJ Washington. They did not mind Derrick Jones Jr. You see KP helping Jaylen Brown, making sure Luka Doncic does not get it in the pick and roll, and he has no choice but to fire out to PJ Washington. This is a shot that he can hit. He might have a game where he goes crazy from 3, but this is what the Celtics want, and it worked in game 1. Absolutely a shot that Luka Doncic can hit, but still a great contest and defense by Al Horford. This video is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 5 million members. It is the most fun and exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Download the app today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. With PrizePicks, you could turn $10 into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite sports this summer. You can make a PrizePicks lineup in as little as 60 seconds. You just need to pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stats projections and you're locked in. When the finals are over, the hoops action doesn't stop on PrizePicks. Women's basketball is just getting started with young stars like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese looking to make names for themselves alongside greats like Breanna Stewart and Aja Wilson. You could win up to 100 times your cash watching them ball out. I've been using PrizePicks for about 2 years and have won a pretty penny in that span, mostly doing basketball and football. Once again, download the app today and use the code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. And it wasn't just the on-ball switches for Al Horford. The IQ of him seeing plays developing and quickly switching and getting out to Luka Doncic here, getting his hands in the passing lane, almost forcing a turnover. All right, so here we got Tatum getting double. The Celtics will move the ball, find Jaylen Brown in the corner for that 3. He knocks it down, and what does he do as soon as he scores? Goes right into the chest of Luka Doncic, picking him up almost full court. And this is either excessive film work by Jaylen Brown or just great anticipation. He's gonna jump to the ball hand of Luka Doncic first, and then he's gonna read the behind the back. He knew this was coming the whole time. He stepped to the ball hand and quickly jumps on the behind the back, pokes the ball loose from Luka Doncic, dunks it home, and the seatbelt straps. And another part of discipline is Jaylen Brown staying down on those Luka Doncic pump fakes. Luka is really good at drawing fouls and finishing through that contact because he's so strong, but he had a wide open push shot here and elected to foul bait and elected to go and try to get a foul. Jaylen Brown didn't fall for it, and when Luka Doncic decided to play one-on-one, the Celtics allowed him to. The only time that they sent 2 people was when either Pritchard was on him or Derek White, because he just has an enormous strength advantage against those 2 guys, right? But when it was Jaylen Brown, the only thing they did was use stunts. You're going to see Drew Holiday right here. He's going to stun at him, doesn't really do anything, but then you're going to see Derek White in the corner stunt right there, and then he gives the ball to Josh Green. And again, this isn't a bad possession. If you're the Dallas Mavericks, you get a semi-open 3 by PJ Washington, but for the Celtics, this is what they want. And this play was just perfect game plan discipline by the Celtics. You see Luka going one-on-one. Tatum's going to come over for a second. He's like, wait, nope, that's not what we're supposed to be doing. He gets back. And then again, Jaylen Brown on the pump fakes. He jumps a little bit, but does a great job of putting his hands down and moving backwards so Luka cannot get the contact on him. Again, we try to prevent them to get those corner 3s. We got Derek White hugging the corner in the passing lane, almost gets that steal on Kyrie. And this is what I want you guys to see here. So again, I'm going to keep saying it. KP was on Derrick Jones Jr. or PJ Washington. They want those guys to shoot the ball instead of Kyrie and Luka, right? So KP comes down because I think he believed that Johnson was going to shoot this ball. He's going to get the rebound, but he's the one guarding Derrick Jones Jr. on this play. So he sees Kyrie driving. He sees Derrick Jones Jr. get the ball at the 3-point line, and he's just not worried. Derrick White jumps out on him. He drives. KP is in perfect help position for this Derrick Jones drive. And what does Kristaps Porzingis do? Slides right past him and goes to Kyrie Irving. Not even worried about Derrick Jones Jr. driving. And both of them actually go to Kyrie Irving. And it's because you're going to let Derrick Jones Jr. do whatever he wants. You're going to let him do whatever he wants. But if you see Kyrie Irving, you have to go shut that water off. And Kyrie is going to do something here. I think the Mavericks actually scoring in this possession, but it's just perfect game plan discipline. You see Tatum here on Kleber. He's not going to help on Luka Doncic. He's following Kleber, and Luka hits this shot. But that is just perfect game plan discipline by the Boston Celtics. And here again, we got Jaylen Brown on Luka Doncic. He's going to try to pump fake again. Jaylen Brown stays down on it. He passes it off, and he takes away Luka Doncic for the rest of this play. He doesn't get the ball back. And here we got Al Horford switched on to Luka Doncic again. Again, he did a great job in these situations, contesting the step back three here and blocking it. All right, so here I like this play by Jaylen Brown and Kristaps Porzingis. Kyrie gets the ball, gets a step on Jaylen Brown, but he meets him to the spot, and then Kyrie also sees KP. KP is going to jump at Kyrie, forces him to pick up his dribble, pivot, and forces to travel. And probably the best individual defensive play by Celtics tonight, Jaylen Brown. Again, you see Al Horford guarding Derrick Jones Jr. They don't want Luka Doncic to get going in those pick and rolls, but here they allow him to get an open pass. Jaylen Brown comes off of that corner, something they don't want to do, but the lobs were not a part of their offense in today's game, and well, not today's game, in yesterday's game. Well, not in game one, and the corner shots were not either. Those are two things that the Mavericks really do well at picking apart their opponents. Jaylen Brown stops the first lob. Derrick Jones Jr. gets the ball back. They collapse. They rotate. They do a nice job running them off the 3-point line. They only shot 27 threes. They also shoot a lot of threes like the Boston Celtics. You run Kleber off the 3-point line. You run Tim Hardaway off the 3-point line. Push him inside. Again, Al Horford steps up and watch this block by Jaylen Brown. Meeting one of the most athletic players in the league, a former dunk champ at the Summit, and blocking that away. And this is just a really tough shot by Luka Doncic, probably ill-advised, but still good defense by Al Horford. And this was a really important stretch by Jaylen Brown in the latter half of this third quarter. On offense, he was driving the ball, got 2 fouls on Derek Lively. They had to sit him down because he had 5. Did a nice job driving and kicking, getting his teammates open looks. And in the third quarter, we just seen how he negated 2 Derrick Jones Jr. dunks, and right here gets a block on Kyrie Irving. All right, so here on this page, just a great job by Al Horford. We got Jrue Holiday on Kyrie, of course, trying to stay on his hip the best he can. He drives into Al Horford, does a nice job of running Kleber off the 3-point line, gets switched on. Look at how crisp this shit is this game, bro. If our switching is this crisp, bro, in the rest of these games, the Mavericks are in deep shit. And then we got Al Horford switch on the THJ, forcing their ball. And this is just impeccable defense by Kristaps Porzingis. First, we're going to start off with impeccable defense by Jaylen Brown. Again, pressuring Luka Doncic, not letting him get anything easy. He has to do multiple moves to even get somewhere. He drives right into Kristaps Porzingis. So then he goes out of Derrick Jones Jr., stops him there. He was going to drive, it looks like, but then he stops him there for a handoff to Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, an in and out dribble move, a good move, but Kristaps moving his feet. Our big man moved their feet so well in this game. Kristaps switched on to Derrick Jones Jr., gets the handoff to Kyrie Irving. He stays with Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, a great pass to Derrick Jones Jr. And again, one of the more athletic guys in this league. Kristaps comes back and meets him at the Summit. And do you guys remember the very first clip of this video where Al Horford was guarding Daniel Gafford and he pointed at Jason Tatum for him to go get Gafford, but he did not see him? This is another example of that, and this is game plan discipline again. The Celtics were trying to have PJ Washington and Derrick Jones Jr. or Josh Green guarded by their bigs when they went single big. Kristaps is the lone big in this lineup, and he's guarding Derek Lively. The Mavericks see this, and Lively gonna go set a screen. Look at Porzingis pointing at Peyton Pritchard. They wanted to keep this game plan so bad that he told Peyton Pritchard to go switch on to Derek Lively so he can go guard Derrick Jones Jr. This is what they want to do. This is what they did in the March 1st matchup against Dallas, and this is what they did so well in game 1. And then, like we also said, the only time they doubled Luka when he was trying to go one-on-one was if Peyton Pritchard or Derek White was on him. Derek White and Peyton Pritchard double him on this possession, and we get a fast break bucket. But that is a video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, subscribe, and share to any and everyone that you can. Just bring it out there a little bit more. And I will see you guys in the next video. But this is Nick. Peace.